Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dana and I am so excited to be sharing my love of makeup and beauty with you all. It has been so long since I've had time to sit down and film. Today I am going to attempt a palette bingo with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina Pro Volume 4. It is the sort of really large kind of pinky colored one. It's a very difficult palette to show on camera because it's so big. If you saw my eyeshadow declutter from about a month or so back, you noticed I said that this palette kind of overwhelmed me. There's so many options in here and it's such a big palette that I'm never sure what to do. And one of my lovely subscribers said they wanted to see me try a palette bingo, so that's what we're gonna do today. I am going to randomly generate 5 shadows from this palette. They are numbered in the palette as A1 through 5, then B1 through 5. I'm numbering them 1 to 25, so A1 is number 1 and E5 is 25. We'll pull up 5 random colors and I will try and make a look out of it. I've said this before on my channel, I'm definitely not a makeup artist. I think that's pretty obvious by this point. I don't have a ton of experience sort of creating looks out of random shadows, and in fact that's actually something that makes me kind of uncomfortable. So I'm excited to sort of step out of my comfort zone a little bit today and try this with you. I have done the rest of my base makeup, that's already done, and I have primed my eyes, so I am ready to sort of zoom in and get started. So we'll start by picking the shadows, I'll show you which ones come up, and then we will get started with the look, I guess. I've got a random number generator on my phone, so we're just gonna pull that up. All right, so our first number is number 1, which will be A1. Right up here in the top corner. So that is this one here. That's a really beautiful shimmer color. It's like very, very pale. Would be a good inner corner color, I think. All right, number 2 is 7, which will end up being B2 down here. B2 is a really gorgeous kind of dark pinky matte. So far, so good. I can work with that. Let's see, number 3 here, we have 8. Okay, the one right beside it, that is B3, which is this sort of warm orangey brown kind of color. Also really nice. Also so far, relatively workable for me. That's good, we're lucking out. Next we have number 3, which will be A3. This one is a little bit brighter. It is a very bright pink. It's not quite matte and it's not quite satin either. It's kind of got both in there. Oh, it's not showing up well on camera. It is quite like almost neon. All right, and one more color to round out this 5. 16, okay. 16 will be D1, which is this very light kind of orangey brown. That'll be a good transition shade. Okay, this is a little more matte heavy than I was expecting. This palette has a lot of shimmers in it and we somehow randomized almost all mattes. But I'm excited. I am excited to give this a shot. So I will go ahead and zoom you in and we can get started. Okay, so I've just moved my bangs out of the way just to make it a little bit easier to do the eyeshadow. I think that's just simpler for myself. I know it's not a cute hairstyle, but it's fine, it'll do. So to get started, I am going to grab into that really light shade here, the D1, and I'm going to use that as sort of a transition shade, kind of in my crease and also above it. I like this shade because it looks pretty brown in the pan, but on me it actually ends up being almost like a peachy kind of pink tone. I wasn't really expecting that. I haven't used the shade much, if at all, before. With that same big fluffy brush, I am going to dip into B3, which is the slightly darker, like orangey matte that we pulled up. And I'm going to, again, use this in sort of my crease, but not super like tight, just a little more blown out, and a bit in the outer corner as well. This one's not substantially darker than the other one we used, the D1. It's got a little bit more depth, so it's just gonna add a bit more of a gradient, but it's not actually like substantially deeper. Okay, then I'm going to take a smaller fluffy brush and I'm going to grab B2, which is the darker matte pink that we pulled up. And I am going to use that in really tight in my crease and also a nice blown out outer corner. I'm just going to use the palette as a mirror. Next, I'm going to take just a flat shader brush and I am going to grab A3, which is the sort of satiny pink, and I am going to use that as my lid shade. I'm not sure this would have been the lid shade I would have picked it if I had gotten to choose these shadows, but I think it'll look nice still. And I am just sort of patting that into the center of my lid, which was blank up till this point. And I'm going to just use this big fluffy brush to just blend it out a little bit. And lastly, I'm going to take A1, which is this top sort of sparkly shade, and I'm just going to put it over top of that pink. It's quite a light sort of shimmer shade. It's not really like, it doesn't have a lot of pigment, so it's not really going to change the color. It's just going to add some sparkle. Okay. And then with that same flat shader, I am going back in with my B2 there. That is the deeper kind of pink shade. And I'm just gonna tuck that right underneath the eye. And I'm going to blend that out with a fluffy brush. All right, so for 5 shadows, I think that is the eyeshadow done. I'm just gonna quickly do my mascara and liner off camera and then we'll come back. All right, so this is the finished eyeshadow look. I just topped it off with some black liner and some mascara, and I added a lip gloss as well, just to kind of polish everything up. I'm actually really impressed with myself. Like, I know this was a very easy, like, I lucked out. I drew mostly mattes, which is, in my opinion, easier to create a look around. But I'm actually quite impressed. This is definitely not something that I normally do and not something that I'm normally very comfortable with. But I really like how this look turned out. It's very bright, it's bold, but it's still quite fun and still fairly wearable. Like, I mean, it's bold, but it's not crazy, right? I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed with the quality of this palette. Like, I still find it tough to use. It's still very big and some of the colors don't, in my opinion, seem to go very well together. But it's good quality. It works very similar to the standard ABH quality. They're not the same formula, they're definitely different, but it works very well. And it's a nice palette with some nice colors in it. So I'm really hoping, like, if I play with it a little bit more and I continue to get good results, that I'm going to like it a little bit more and maybe get some more use out of it, because it was not a cheap palette and I'd really like to get my money's worth. What do you think of the eye look? Feel free to be brutal, it's fine. I don't take offense, it's cool. I really like it. I'm quite happy with how it turned out, and hopefully I will keep playing around with this a little bit more. So thank you very much for the suggestion. This was a really fun video to film. I hope you liked it as well. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up, and I'd love for you to subscribe and to see you back for my next video. Bye!